Welcome back, everyone, to Real Estate Strategies with Remax Hallmark. I'm really excited for today's episode because I'm here with a buddy of mine, Shawn, who's the CEO of Shaheen Company, and he's built a fantastic business over the years. So, Shawn, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm just going to jump right into some questions if that's okay with you.
Sure, Micah. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. So, Shawn, for people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Toronto? Where did you grow up?
I was born in Edmonton, raised in Alberta in a small town named St. Albert. And then when my parents split up, I decided to move in with mom. Mom lived in Toronto, and I've been in Toronto since, So that was around grade six, and I have a deep admiration for the city. I absolutely love the fact that I'm a Torontonian, and I've been selling real estate since March of '08 when I was
Okay.
21 years old. So I'm going on, I think in and around today is my 18th anniversary.
Yeah, we're not far off. I think I maybe a couple of years. I've had my license a few years longer than you. What was it like starting real estate at 21?
It's challenging, when you're 21, it's hard to gain the trust of, investors, clients, families, because you need that experience before you can actually act on their behalf. That was a big challenge. I dealt with a lot of younger people, a lot of first-time buyers, and they progressed into families, and that was a big support in my business. So I mean, starting small and then maintaining those relationships has been an asset in my success.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know about you, but when I started, I was in my early 20s too. I looked like a baby. So so it made it even harder. So I made sure to always have a suit and tie and. Yeah.
I did the same thing, and I don't look too different than when I did in my 20s, believe it or not, So, I just have a few white hairs. That's
Yeah.
about it.
They start to come out. Uh, all right. So when when you look at your business today, what are the core values that drive how you lead your team?
So we have a long list of core values, but the main one is consistency. So we have to stay consistent at all times. Whether your results are positive or negative, the act of seeking new business has to be consistent.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to foster existing business, but there has to be a dedication and commitment to constantly seeking new business and prospecting. So that has been one of the most important values that I've been constantly repeating at our sales meetings.
That's so true. And I think that's where a lot of agents struggle, right? Is with that consistency for new lead gen. You got to maintain, but you got to keep the new stuff going.
Well, you have been a great help when it comes to that because you've gotten me back on the ball, and I'm constantly calling and updating, and I'm doing at least 20 to 30 phone calls and emails per day just within our database. And then sometimes I'll go out and target expired listings, and it's all thanks to you. So thank you for constantly encouraging me, Micah.
No problem. I'm happy to help. And it's nice to work like that. The best thing for me is when I'm working with somebody that is coachable and takes it on and takes direction. And so you've been great to work with. So I appreciate that as well. And as a leader, you've got to lead from the front, right? Like we've talked about this.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to lead with action.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you got to be an example for your team members, right?
So what I typically do is any type of communication with new clients or like business seeking emails, I will block CC all of the sales guys so they can see what I'm doing on a daily basis. Sometimes I'll do it late at night, or sometimes I'll schedule send emails. I just want them to see how often and how frequently I'm sending emails so that they kind of match my rhythm.
Yeah, and the messaging, I think that's amazing because that's where it's hard in real estate, right? You get into real estate and then even if you have a mentor, which I know has been big in your career and success and we'll talk more about, but you're not with them all the time, hearing the communication, seeing the communication. like I was really fortunate because my dad was a realtor. So I got to, I remember my first couple of years, I was on the phone with him like every, 5 minutes, right? So it's great that you do that with your team members to let them see how you communicate, what you say, how often you're communicating. So they're lucky, they're fortunate to have that.
It's funny you say that your father was a realtor. I noticed that in our business, a lot of second or third generation realtors are dominating. I think it's like a common theme. And I see that the leaders are like second generation or third generation realtors and they really know what they're doing. So it's nice that you've had that, foundation in your career.
Yeah.
When I started, I really didn't have that foundation. It was just learn as I go. So I was naturally drawn to mentors. And I find that without a mentor, you're really lost. So if anyone has the ability or the privilege of having access to mentorship, I strongly suggest it more than anything else.
Well, and I love that you bring that up because in my experience, everybody has access to mentorships, but you got to go out and find them. You got to make them happen, right? You got to ask for help. How did you find your, initial mentors?
All of them have been lovely people. It's interesting when you're in a position where you need mentorship, you're a little apprehensive because you think that people don't want to share their knowledge. But one of the most gratifying parts of life is passing down your knowledge. That goes without saying for everyone, I would say. When you're older and more experienced, the only gratifying act you can give back to the world is sharing your knowledge. So I'd like for people that are listening to this podcast to understand that all you have to do is ask, and typically the person will wholeheartedly share their experience with you and knowledge with you.
Yeah, it's true. I had those fears early on too, but it's the exact opposite. People love to help, especially people that have been successful. They love
Absolutely.
to, yeah, yeah. And I know you do that a lot with your team, right?
I'll share knowledge with anyone that's
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think hoarding knowledge is, if I have information, why wouldn't I want to share it?
Yeah.
There's no reason why would I hoard my knowledge? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Well, I think it's one of those things where people fear if they share, then, other teams or other people are going to do better than them or catch up to them. But, it's not, it's a,
I don't want to, I say this to a lot of my friends and people that are close to me. I say our entire lives are basically like a speck of dust. We're here for a very short period of time, if you look at it on a grand scale.
yeah,
So why not give back and make a difference if you can, if you're lucky enough to have an opportunity, right?
yeah,
Because that in itself is a gift. So I think if you have the ability to share knowledge that's valuable to someone else, by all means, without hesitation.
yeah, that's awesome. All right. Where did you start generating like your first leads? Where did they come from? Was it door knocking? Was it internet leads? Was it sphere of influence?
When I was 21 years old.
Yeah, yeah. Open
Okay.
houses.
So when I was 21 years old, I got my license, and I was lucky. I had my own apartment. I was dating this girl, and we would host a lot of parties. And I was a social. I was a socially outgoing type of person. So my social circles supported me, and they were just naturally drawn to me because I genuinely cared about my friends and I wanted what was best for them. And I always made sure that they had fun when they were with me. And I always, hosted and brought everyone together. So that was the foundation for my business, just my social circles. And clearly, obviously most of my first deals were purchases. So I would purchase on behalf of friends that were buying what was similar to what I had already purchased for myself, which was a condo. So I bought my first condo and I had friends that, would come over and they liked what they saw. So I would just, share my experience and knowledge with them and they would buy, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom condo. So that's how
Where was your first condo?
at Young and Finch at 60 Bing Avenue.
You still have it? Okay. A lot of agents, when it comes to teams, think joining a team means giving up freedom. How do you see that? How do you see it differently?
Joining a team. Okay. So freedom in my world, in my realm, freedom is actually having a regimented routine. That is actual freedom. If you're under the impression that freedom is just getting up whenever you want and doing whatever you want, that's a prison. Okay. And that'll drive you insane. You have to have a set routine of certain acts that are consistently being repeated in your life. That is what will actually give you true freedom, believe it or not. So it's not necessarily giving up freedom, it's actually gaining freedom because now you know what to do. Now you have direction. When you're alone and especially when you're starting out, you don't really have direction. So you don't know what to do or really where to go on a daily basis. But when you have a leader that has been through the challenges and the hurdles of starting a business and operating within the real estate space, now you have a system in place, and that's what will give you real freedom. So I don't agree with that
Yeah.
opinion.
No, I agree with you. And I know, both of us are really disciplined, consistent. We have systems and processes in our business, and that's what gives you the freedom. That's what then gives you more time. That's what gives you the
Yes.
ability, consistent financial, money coming in. That's what gives you, able to go on trips and all of this stuff, right? So yeah, I agree with you 100%. What kind of agent would you say thrives most on your team?
It all goes back to consistently seeking new business. So
Yeah.
the agents, I mean, there's agents that are reactive and they deal with the business that comes in and they do very well. That's one approach. And then there's the agents that are kind of similar to me that are constantly, reaching out, right? And staying top of mind. And I know that people say this all the time and it just gets repeated and it's just, it's common knowledge. But being proactive is well received by your database. They want to see that you're proactive. So someone else might be targeting them, someone else might be marketing better to them. But if you're proactive and if you're staying on top of sales in their community, updating them, over the phone, through email, through text message, you're naturally going to overpower any other marketing vehicles that are out there because they see that you're proactive. So if you're proactive when it comes to something that's of my interest, of course you're going to be proactive when you're selling my property or when you're buying on my behalf. So that behavior translates and people resonate with it.
Yeah.
So I know this has been repeated by many other, salespeople, but being proactive has so many benefits. Just being proactive.
Yeah. Yeah, it works. I mean, you hear it all the time. The agent that stays in touch consistently is the one that gets the business, right?
And you have to have
So,
a system. You have to have a system. I'm not advocating for Follow Up Boss at all. They charge an arm and a leg for their system, but it's well worth it because, they have various like widgets, I guess they're called, that constantly remind you, call this guy, text this guy, check souls for this guy. And you set it all yourself, right? So as long as you're logged in to Follow Up Boss for, let's say, 4 hours a day, then it just happens naturally.
yeah. Yeah, you just got to follow the process and follow up boss
That's
once
it.
it's set up properly. When someone joins your team, what do they actually get beyond the brand and the logo?
Well, they get access to our systems. They have an opportunity to host open houses, and I've been getting a lot of leads from open houses.
Yeah, because you
And then,
you carry a lot of listings.
like, if we're short, we'll have like, if we have low inventory, we'll have maybe five or six, but we've had upwards of like 20, 25 listings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now we have probably around ten
But
listings.
but what I'm getting at is I know because I work with you, but you have an abundance of open house opportunities and leads that come from listings and right?
And we have leads that I've been working with for years as well. And the agents that I work with, I'll kind of match the client's personality to the agent's personality, and then we'll collaborate and we'll collaborate on that specific lead and we'll work with them over, the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years. We even had one deal that we just closed recently. Alex, which is me and Alex and I have been working together for 15 years. We have been collaborating on this client since the beginning.
Wow.
So it's been 15 years of us just constantly going back and forth with this. She's a young woman, She's still young, but we met 15 years ago, and I've been showing her, Alex has been showing her, we've been having conversations, talking, sending her birthday cards, just maintaining a relationship. And 15 years later, she just bought her first house.
That's incredible. I know you also, so they get systems, there's leads, an abundance of leads. They get open houses. And then I know they get mentorship from you, right? Like a lot of mentorship from you. And I lost my train of thought. What was I going to ask?
So you're asking like what other assets,
Yes. Yeah. Other
team
than the
members
logo.
receive.
Yeah.
So there's, the team, there's leads, there's opportunities, but I would say that the most valuable, you know, information that I share with the new recruit is the in-depth knowledge that I have within the business. And that itself has taken me, and I'm still learning. Like I'm in no way, completely satisfied with the level of knowledge I have. I'm still learning, but just like not necessarily the tricks of the trade, but just like the nuanced observations that I make on each property specifically, right? And it comes natural to me because I've been doing it for 18 years. But I notice that when a new agent comes in, or even like buyers come in, or sellers come in, they really appreciate my opinion on a property, and I can get into fine detail with you on this if you'd like. But it's very important to have knowledge that is valuable to the person spending millions of dollars acquiring this property or
Yeah.
selling it.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my train of thought. One thing I wanted to ask you about, because I think it's fairly unique. I know some other teams do it, but it's not typical, is you have a concierge program, which I think is a phenomenal program for both the client because they get exceptional service, but also for your team members because they get another opportunity to be involved in listings and sales and whatnot. Do you want to mention anything about your concierge service?
Which concierge service are you talking about? I don't remember which one you're talking
Or is it not? Maybe it's not called the concierge service. The program that you have with your agents when they get involved and help you with a listing.
about. You're talking about co-piloting.
Co-piloting, sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
co-piloting. Yeah. Because I,
So co-piloting is an opportunity. It shouldn't be viewed as income. And I was actually taught co-piloting by one of my mentors, which is a very small amount of compensation in exchange for treating the listing as if it's your own. So if you have your own listing, you're going to have in-depth knowledge, you're going to do the research, you're going to post it, you're going to market it properly, but you're also going to leverage that listing to secure more business, whether it's buyers or sellers or whatever the case might be. So co-piloting is an opportunity for an agent on the team to basically go out in the marketplace and say, hey, look, I have this listing. This family has trusted me with this listing. Are you interested to buy or sell?
yeah, and then so they can leverage it. Like, so not only do they get to learn and be involved in it, but then they can leverage it for door knocking, open houses, social media advertising to generate
Absolutely. Sphere
leads.
of influence.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So many different
Yeah.
avenues of earning business.
Yeah, I love that. I remembered that while we were talking, and I'm glad I brought it up. Copilot. Okay, what are some of the biggest mistakes newer agents make when they try to build their own real estate business?
Mistakes? I mean, I can speak to the mistakes that I made.
Sure.
Okay. So if you want to scale your business and be one of the top agents, a mistake is to kind of work all over the map. You cannot work all over the map. There's absolutely no way that you can be an
Are you
expert
talking about geography wise?
geographically.
Yeah.
Yes, geographically, yes. So one of the mistakes that I made, and I wasn't given direction because I didn't have the support or the right guidance, is that I didn't target a specific niche geographic area. And if you are starting the business, or if you're looking to revamp your business or whatever the case might be, a mistake is not choosing an area of expertise. Anything other than this is not sustainable. You really need to be an expert in a certain little area, and then you can kind of scale from there. But In order to succeed in the real estate business, my suggestion would be to really study, the fine details of any little small community where you actually have an admiration for, and then use that to scale at a higher level. Without that, you're just all over the place, and you're gonna cap out at some point.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me. That exact same thing has happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know it's the same thing geographical area, but also like trying to do like, 7 lead pillars at the same time. Like just get really good at 2 or 3 before you go on to adding other ones, right? And make sure they're systematized and yeah.
Of course,
What would you say to an agent who's doing a few deals a year but knows they're capable of a lot more?
few deals a year. Well, a few deals a year is probably a part-time agent, right? If you're capable of doing more, I mean, have they chosen a target market? Choose a target market. I mean, that should be top of mind. So choose a target market. And then if you're doing a few deals a year, you're probably just reactive. So put all of your database into a system. If you don't want to pay for a system, just put it on an Excel sheet. How hard is that? Just put whoever you know on an Excel sheet and make sure all of these people don't forget who you are, because you really need to stay top of mind because people forget. I forget. Like if I don't hear from you, Micah, for 2, 3 weeks, I'm going to forget you exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love you. You're a great guy. We're good friends. But if I don't hear from you for a month, 2 months, that's it. Like I'll see you and go, by the way, oh, hey, Micah, nice seeing you. I'll just forget who you are. So it's very important to stay top of mind.
Yeah, what I say when I'm explaining it to people is like if your cousin's at a party, right? And basically is talking to, a friend or a past client of yours and that she's going to have another baby. And she says, "Man, we're going to have to sell the condo now and buy a house." Are you top of mind? Do you pop up top of mind if you haven't talked to them or they haven't gotten an email from you or seen you on social media, or if they're just not going to remember. It's not that they don't like you or want to help you or service
It's
you.
not going to
They're just
remember.
not going to
Yeah.
remember, right? So that's the trick. You got to stay top of mind without annoying people, right? And you do that by providing high value content and service. Yeah.
There's one caveat, and I think that is that, you want to stay top of mind, but you don't want to come off as like salesy, like used car salesman salesy, right?
Yeah.
Because that is not a good look. And no, and I understand how this will be perceived by, whoever's watching. My advice is not to be pushy and salesy. However, you should be pushy and informative with actual tangible information. So if this person is saying, we should sell our condo and buy, a townhouse or something, I'm not saying you should call them constantly to stay top of mind, but you should be sending them every week or every 2 weeks a few nicely renovated, newer townhouses in areas that you think would be a good fit for them without any expectations. You're just sending it to them so they can browse through the pictures, look at it, and get on with their day. And you don't have any expectations for them to get back to you. As long as they're reviewing it and seeing it, even if they aren't reviewing it and seeing it, as long as you're doing your job and sending it to them, that's sufficient.
Yeah, I had a coach years ago, which really helped me with this. And she said, "Micah, you have to start connecting with people to truly be of service. Provide service and value. Not stop trying to get something, right?" So and that was a huge breakthrough for me.
No compensation.
Yeah. Yeah, or they call it commission breath or okay, how important is environment in this business?
Well, I think it's important for the quality of your life, right? If you're in a horrible environment, you need to get out because you're a product of your environment. So if you can put yourself in a position or in a space where there's other top producers, I mean, it's proven that you'll do very well. Even if you're just like, even if you're just like within the same vicinity, you don't even need to be in contact with the person as long as you're in the same vicinity. That's why one of the reasons affluent areas do so well is because people just want to be with other successful people. They just want to be in the same vicinity because you feed off of their energy. I'm a big believer on energy.
Yeah, and you're at a great office, and that's one thing about you and your team is you guys go into the office on a regular, consistent basis, right?
We have our sales meetings once a week, and then everyone comes in to work whenever they can. I'm in every day, and then our admin is here every single day. We just hired a newer guy. So they're in the office working away all the time. So yeah, we're constantly together and feeding off of each other's energy.
Yeah, it's awesome. What kind of mindset does an agent need if they want to become a top producer?
You have to be relentless. You have to be relentless. Like this is not if you're an emotional person or if you get hurt easily, this is not for you. This business is not for someone that gets hurt very easily. And you should be empathetic and very understanding. So be a good listener, a good negotiator, and never ever allow your emotions to dictate your behavior. Because there's going to be times where, you're going to be hurt. Somebody's going to say something or they're going to react in a way that's not going to make you feel good. So you have to just pick up the pieces at that very moment and move forward. And that's the hardest part. That is the hardest part.
Yeah. For the right person for your team, what could the next 12 months look like if they plugged into your team and fully committed?
Probably have a database of 300 to 500 people that are in constant communication with them. Out of that 300 to 500 people, they'd probably do around 7 to 12 deals and earn $120,000.
Okay. What are you seeing in the market right now that smart agents should be paying attention to?
Well, if we don't ever experience a declining market, then there's no opportunity. So I'm kind of seeing this as an opportunity to really educate people and have those tough conversations because those are hard conversations to have. If, people are kind of stuck on prices from, 4 or 5 years ago, no one is really there to enlighten them on reality. So I think that's one of the biggest opportunities nowadays is having the ability to have those tough conversations, right? And the other thing is that our job essentially is to fail. We have to fail. The more you fail, the better you are at this job, the better you are at selling real estate. So you have to make 20, 30, 40, 50 attempts a day at having these tough conversations and failing in order to succeed one or two times. So I would say that's one of the best opportunities right now is having this window of opportunity where you can just have these tough conversations and fail. And the more you fail, the more successful you'll be.
Yeah, and imagine on that note, when the market does shift, how much easier it'll be if you've been having all those tough conversations.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully sooner rather than later. And yeah, I mean, I heard from one of my mentors recently. He said that just be the last man standing, you know, be the last man
I like
standing
that. I like
at
that.
all costs. Yeah. Yeah.
In a changing market, what separates the agents who grow from the agents who disappear?
In a separating market,
In a changing market, what
in a
separates
changing market.
the agents who grow from the agents who disappear?
Well, the agents that disappear don't have adaptive mentalities, right? So even myself, like if I didn't have an adaptive mentality, if I didn't seek other ways to earn business and to keep the show on the road, I would have failed. So I adapted. I seeked your help. I changed everything around. I rebranded. I started making more phone calls. I basically changed the entire approach to the business. So you have to be innovative, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah,
Those are the ones that will succeed.
and like I know you had a tough year. Uh, I mean, still better than most agents out there, but in 2024, you had a down year, a tough year.
I think 2023 was the worst
20,
for a while. And then 2024, we did a little better. 2025, we did a lot better.
yeah, yeah. And it's because you revamped, you look, for other opportunities, the rebranding, you got coaching for you and your team and pushed your team members and it worked, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, if you were advising an agent on how to grow over the next 2 to 3 years, where would you tell them to focus first?
Their own skills, right? Their own skills. That's important. Having a routine and constantly repeating the same thing, just like going to the gym, is probably one of the most valuable, personality traits you can have. So you have to be comfortable repeating the same thing over and over and over. And that includes going to the gym. I mean, going to the gym proves to your mind that you're in control. So that's a big one, I would say.
I like that.
Consistent exercise. Yeah. It
Yeah.
proves to you that you're in control. You're in control of your own well-being.
Yeah. It all ties in too, right? Like if you've got the gym, the routine, and I like what you said about skill development, and I want to talk a little bit more about it because I think skill development is so much more, even more important than in this market, right? And so if you're doing that, if you're going to the gym, if you're having that routine and part of that routine is skill development, you're going to have a much higher chance of success in this market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you and your team are constantly doing skill development and working on your skills.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We role play once a week. I mean, we try to at our sales meeting. And, especially when it comes to negotiating, like it's something that you have to practice on a weekly basis. You don't want to practice on somebody's biggest asset,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah,
better to
exactly.
practice, you know, with your colleagues.
Yeah. All right. So I got some human questions here. What drives
Okay.
you personally at this stage of your career?
My overhead, that's a big one. My
Yes.
overhead.
Let's be real.
And I just feel like I have to prove to myself that I made the right decision by getting into this business and spending all the money and time and effort on establishing a brand. And 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 I really want to be a main player in the city of Toronto. Like I have to prove it to myself that this was
Yeah.
the right decision.
I mean, we actually talked about this right before we started because you are a main player, but you have very, very high standards. Like you want
I have
to,
very high standards. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
like you want to be number one in
I would love
Toronto.
to be number one. Yes. Yes.
So I do think that you're a little bit hard on yourself sometimes. Like, you
Uh,
definitely want to keep growing and improving, which I know you will, but you are a one, a main player in the city.
well, thank you, man.
What do you what do you enjoy most about leading and mentoring agents? And you kind of already talked about this. You get a lot
Yeah,
back.
but I do enjoy seeing, young, like there's Nikki on my team, and I really enjoy seeing Nikki phone me up and say, "Hey, I just got 3 new listings." Like that's probably the best feeling you could ever have as a leader. Like
Totally.
he's gone out, he's used the material, and he's come back with 3 signed agreements. Like that,
Yeah, it feels good for sure.
nothing feels better than that.
Yeah. What kind of legacy do you want to build through your business?
The legacy that I'd like to leave behind is an environment for young people to come in and have an opportunity to progress within this business and kind of have all of, their foundation set for them so they can just flourish, you know, setting up a company, setting up a system, training, administration, setting up a brand, a website. You know how long these things take? It took me over a decade to just figure out which websites am I going, like which service provider am I going to use? How much traffic do we need? Which neighborhoods are we going to specialize in? What's our brand name going to be? What is our Instagram handle? Like there's so many intricacies that you really have to deal with. So the whole point of me going through all of this was so that when someone else my age, or when I started at that age, when someone else, in their early 20s wants to get into the business, everything is set up for them. They just have to show up and flourish.
Yeah.
So that's the type of legacy that I would like to leave back or leave
Okay.
behind.
So on that note, if there's somebody out there, a new agent or, an agent that, has been around but, wants to kind of take things to the next level, they're interested in learning more about your team, joining your team, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Call me,
Just call
email
me.
me. I mean, I'm more of an email person if they could email,
What's your
but
email?
Shawn at shaheenandcompany.com.
Shawn at shaheenandcompany.com. You can also just Google him and get him through a contact form on his website. So if you're interested in talking to Shawn more, joining his team, reach out to him. Sorry, did I interrupt you? Were you going to say something else?
Yeah, the only other thing I was going to add to that is that I've had many team members come and go. The one difference between the successful ones and the ones that leave are the successful ones have the drive to succeed.
Yeah.
I cannot help anybody if they don't have self-inflicted drive.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can't force
And
people.
that's, yeah, I can't help. Like if, and I can monitor what's happening on a daily basis because we have a system. I can see how many calls were made, how many emails were sent, how many appointments were set, how many tasks were completed. So if the person doesn't have, enthusiasm within themselves, there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. It's the same thing like when I'm coaching agents like yourself. Like some agents just aren't coachable. And there's nothing I can do about that. If you're not gonna, take action or, based on what we talk about. Okay, what else did I want to ask you? I wanted to ask you what makes Remax Hallmark such a powerful place to build a business or a team?
Well, one of the benefits of Remax Hallmark is that there's a lot of top producers here.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends in the office are doing very well. Given the market conditions, they're still doing very well. So just like bouncing ideas off of them, being in the same office as them, that's a big one. There's lots of opportunities that are offered. Like, you, Micah, you have been a great asset for us, and we're very grateful for you. And I do like that we have various offices all over the city, and they're very professionally built. So when we bring clients into the office, they feel like they're in good hands. The the brand power helps. Nowadays, you're seeing a lot of these brokerages kind of go under, or you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
trust accounts being, tapped into. Clients want to be with a reputable, trustworthy brand, and Remax luckily is providing us with that. Uh, I just don't see these small companies lasting very long. And over the past 18 years, I've noticed a lot of them just come and go. So I'm definitely committed to the brand.
Yeah. Awesome. So listen, that's gonna wrap things up. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me and us to get to hear more about your journey, your business, your team. You've built such an incredible business and team. So thanks, Shawn. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you soon.